Can I ask you a question? When was the last time someone asked you how you were? And you replied, I'm fine, even though you really are not. I think we've all done it. I've done it. Today's conversation is all about those two little words, I'm fine. What they hide and what happens when we finally stop pretending. Today's guest is someone that I've been really looking forward to having this conversation with today and bringing and introducing to you. Louise Budgen has spent more than a decade coaching women to reconnect with themselves, helping them more beyond just simply surviving life and instead creating lives that feel so authentic, aligned and truly their own. Through years of listening to women's stories, one phrase kept coming up time and time again for Louise, and that was, I'm fine. But beneath those two little words, you and I both know that there is often exhaustion, overwhelm, self-doubt, and a quiet feeling that something just isn't quite right. That has inspired Louise to write her own book, The Quiet Roar, Stop Pretending You Are Fine. And I have read it, and I had to invite her to come and record this episode today. This conversation isn't really about the book. This is about exploring why so many of us as women lose touch with ourselves and why we become so good at holding everything together on the outside, but what is actually taking part on the inside. About listening to our inner voice is what's important. So whether you've ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, or simply just wondered, is this really all there is in life? Then I think you've got to tune into this one and give it a listen. There's something very special inside this conversation between Louise and I today. So go grab your cuppa, get comfortable, and let Louise and I take you through this episode today. As we welcome to the Menopause Coach Podcast, Louise Budgen. Now, as always, with every episode that we ever do, it is super important to highlight that this is for information purposes and educational purposes at some points along the way, but never to replace or represent any medical support for you. So please tune in, open your ears, open your heart, and take from this what you need in this moment. With love.
Adele, thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
I am going to pick your brains so bad today about everything inside your mind, inside your heart, because you do a lot of the most amazing work. And I would love to just, from your own voice, tell the listener a little bit about you and why we are maybe having this conversation today.
I've always trusted my intuition, Adele, and that has led me to have a very wiggly career, shall we say. And I retrained later in life to become a personal development coach. I did my training with the ICF, and that's how you and I met, isn't it? 5 years ago. And we were on the same master thing. And it's really my deep desire to have always wanted to help people. I've been coaching all my life, and it's only when you look back, when you have got age, like I've got age and wisdom, you can see everything was a dot. And I'm joining the dots of all that came before, but it was all the dots were meant to bring me to this point now, exactly this point now, having this conversation with you after having written the book.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, I thought I knew you before I read the book. And then I read the book and I was like, wow, like you have had a lot of dots that have led to probably this whole big, it's just in my head now, I've got the dot to dot, you know, the numbers and for me, it's like actually your pathway and what you've experienced. The word resilience comes up as soon as I think about you. You're probably one of the most resilient women that I've learned a lot about, especially inside the details that you've encapsulated into the chapters that you've written here to help women. So I would love to know a little bit around the whole phrase of stop pretending you are fine. And this is something I know that, you know, I talk openly about all of this, right? Yeah. It's something that so many of us, I caught myself the other day just doing this when someone had asked me, oh, how are you? And instead of being like, fine or good, I went, yeah, not that great, actually. It's been quite tough recently. And the look of complete horror on the other person's face, because none of us expect the other person to say anything other than, I'm fine. So have you found that? Has there been any other phrases? Because obviously this is one that will come up a lot with women. Any other phrases that you, or sentences that you have come across when working with women, as you've learned to kind of coach and then write this beautiful book for us women to read and understand more about?
Thank you for sharing that you did that, because that is my book in motion, isn't it? And I love that. You're also giving the other person the opportunity and the space to help you, which is what it's all about, isn't it? And also, she might not have been feeling fine, so therefore, if you're not fine, that makes her feeling fine even better. But other words that used to come up is when people were working with honesty, it's like, I'm just exhausted, Louise. I'm fine, but, I'm full on. I'm so busy. I haven't got through my to-do list. I'm rushing here, there, and everywhere. And this is common, isn't it, in women's lives, and the more we do. And as you know, you've read my book, we're not human doings, we're human beings.
Yes, we really are. Have you ever pretended to be fine when you're not?
For decades I did that, Adele, as you know, having read the book. Yes, absolutely. And I smile now because I just would never, I just cannot operate like that now. Once you realise how destructive that is for yourself and for other people around you, you just don't do it. You just don't do it.
There's actually a part in the book, I'm hoping I can find it now, where you talked openly about menopause and the impact that actually had around all of this. Whilst I fish around in my little notes here, Can you maybe share a little bit about how menopause really played a role then? Because obviously this is the Menopause Coach Podcast.
It is. And I have to say, I wish you had been around when I was perimenopausal, because the world was different. We're talking, a couple of decades ago when I was perimenopausal, and it was horrendous. I didn't understand, suddenly why I couldn't do what I'd always done. I couldn't understand why I couldn't sleep. I couldn't understand how my body was changing. There's so much that goes on in menopause that having people like you educating and supporting other people and spinning out more people to do that is just fantastic, because it's needed. Because the doctors at the time, for me, I don't know what they're like now with menopause, they weren't any good. They weren't any good. So the menopause, perimenopause, and then obviously with the treatment that I had for cancer, I got pushed through to post-menopause quite quickly. So it's been interesting.
Yeah, those dots we were talking about, right? Not just... And I think this is the most important conversation that we have. It's not downplaying that actually, like I said at the start, you're one of the most resilient women that I've ever been introduced to, got to know, because what you've faced, and we're going to learn a little bit about this today from a perspective of we all face our dots in our pathway that make our picture of life, right? And for your dot to dot, you've not just faced going through into menopause or recognizing that there's other women out there that will say they're fine when they're not. It's like the woman behind the smile. I talk about this quite openly, but you've faced cancer.
I have. And the interesting thing about facing cancer is, as you know in the book, I was the one that kept telling the doctors and the medical profession I had cancer, and nobody would believe me. So it was only because I trusted my own intuition, my own body whispers, and I could feel a lump, and I can't believe that anybody else couldn't feel it, but that is my story. Mammogram didn't show the lump. And yesterday I was on a particular cancer show, and we talked about when you have dense breast tissue, it doesn't always show. So this is why I really want women, when they sit in the doctor's chair, if they think there's something wrong, to actually trust it and to follow it with their own quiet roar. It's not about being hysterical, because I was very professional and I was very communicative. I thought so at the time, with how I tried to move things forward, but I kept being dismissed. But that there were issues in my own life that, the little Louise playing, I was a people pleaser and looking to authority. I want women to hear their whispers and claim their role in any medical situation, because you do know, and I did know. So I'm the woman that's had cancer twice, but never had that "I'm so sorry to tell you you've got cancer" scenario, because I was relieved when I was told I'd got cancer both times, because I knew, and it was one tear, Adele, I cried when I was when they found the lump finally, one tear came down and they found it by an ultrasound on the actual lump. So I said, I am not going until you've actually gone that lump.
Wow.
And there was one tear, and I just remember thinking, thank God, I'm going to be okay now, because they found that they will treat me now. So I have faced cancer twice. It been a fantastic teacher, and I faced it with the full knowledge that I would heal myself.
Wow.
And I know that having trained as a coach and plugged into personal development a few years earlier, it was a preparation, another dot on my path to preparing me for being able to do exactly that. And I honestly believe that that was because I was supposed to write this book, and I was supposed to be able to share then that you can heal yourself. I became a researcher. I became an avid book reader. You need to be curious. When you've got cancer, don't just think, oh, okay, then, oh, well, never mind. No, you have the power to change your cells. You have the power to change your thoughts, which change your cells. You can change your diet. You can move more. There's so much you can do to help yourself. I mean, ultimately, we don't know when I call it the expiry date. We don't know when that is. But we're still here. So while we're still here, let's be curious and help ourselves. And I really believe I healed myself.
Oh, I love that. It's very powerful. I think, one of the things that we always say, and the disclaimer is always at the start of these episodes as well, but obviously anything that Louise and I share in this is not to replace any medical support. Always do consult with your own medical providers in the event. But this is brought to you from someone walking their own pathway, someone experiencing their own journey and just sharing their knowledge and the wisdom, because absolutely, as women, when we come together back in that sisterhood, back in that circle, that women's and feminine circle of sharing knowledge and sharing energy, the most abundant, powerful things happen. But you've actually said inside the pages of this book that, and I want to read this because I think it's really powerful. I stayed longer than I needed to, pushing, pretending, performing. It's like 3 Ps. And in my head, I was like, this is so true. We've all been there. I can see me in this. Breaking down beneath the surface, while on the outside, I kept holding it all together. I was now heading deep into my own sacred unravel. So with this whole piece, not everyone can sit inside the depths of what I call like the mushy part of the butterfly evolving, right? It's like in order for the caterpillar to become the butterfly, we go through this mushy, horrible phase where we're just like, everything feels shit. So maybe share a little bit about this from a wisdom perspective of a woman who has, like you've just shared, survived a cancer journey twice over. There's other things inside this book that you have survived, but from a resilience perspective, the unraveling. Can we maybe talk a little bit about that? Because I'm really curious to understand, as a woman myself who feels like she constantly is going through these evolving stages of womanhood, evolving changes within physical body, emotional body, and professionally as a businesswoman as well. So talk to me a little bit about your experiences of this unraveling.
It's not always pretty. It's actually not been pretty. However, it is necessary, as you say, with the butterfly. It's about learning to appreciate that it is meant to be, and it's meant to be in that moment for you. So you can either play victim to it and not really go deeply into it and look for the wisdom and the lessons. But a lot of people can't do that, Adele, because they don't get quiet enough with themselves. Now, for many, many years, I've said to clients, do you meditate? And it's like, oh, I haven't got the trousers, or I haven't got the incense. I'm like, you don't need any of that.
You say I haven't got the trousers?
Yeah, I've had that out, or I can't sit cross-legged and I haven't got any of those trousers.
Okay.
It's just being still with yourself. And when you are still with yourself, you can hear the whispers. And when the whispers are raw, when the whispers are powerful, they are what will help you unravel, because you can hear the truth of each of those whispers. And it's the truth of those whispers that I sat with and explored and sat with again and explored, and was able to realize that, yeah, I was in a really bad place, but it didn't matter, because it was part of me remembering who I am and what I'm here for, Adele. And I've been on many wrong roads, shall we say, but they weren't wrong roads. They were the right roads for the right reasons because I took the lessons. I always know when that road was at the point where actually I need to reroute, or I was rerouted by universal powers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any right or wrong answer to that, right? It's like you're unraveling. And I think one of the things that I've been able to observe in this moment, just in processing it, is that actually with love, not everyone can sit in the discomfort of the processing, because it's easier in moments where things feel quite confronting, when we are maybe faced with not being happy in life, when we're maybe faced with knowing that someone or something, that could be your career, your own business that you've built, it could be relationship connections, that actually you're sitting inside a miserable energy space that you don't want to admit. And it's that question again of, how are you? I'm fine.
It is. And often nothing needs to change. It's your perspective of all of it that needs the work.
Interesting. So what do we mean by that? Maybe make an example then to share with the listener today who thinks, okay, fine, but I'm not just going to, get the comfortable pairs of trousers on and sit down and meditate to solve all my problems.
A client a few years ago came to see me thinking that she wanted to have a divorce. I listened and I did what I do as a coach and sent her away, having held space for her and got her to look at a different perspective on what she had just shared with me.
Okay.
And she realised, after I'd given her a few pointers, should we say, in terms of exercise, in terms of spending quiet time with herself, maybe doing some journaling, maybe not being quite so angry with the person in question. And she came back to me and she said, I cannot believe it was all my doing.
Wow.
It was all my doing, Louise. And she is so happy now. But she realised that she was the one that was whirling the negative energy, and the person in that negative energy was probably just trying to dodge.
Survive. Yeah.
So that's one example. Because the quiet roar, while it does talk about menopause, it does talk about illness, it also talks about relationships and families, and how we are does ripple out to the rest of to our children, to our parents, to everybody that's in our orbit. And when we become happier, by nature, that just is how everybody is. And when we can drop judgment, when we can stop blaming, when we can, all those things are helpful in creating healthy relationships, not only with ourselves, but with our nearest and dearest and all the new exciting people that you're yet to meet in your life.
Now, if you're someone who's been saying, I'm fine, but deep down you know that you are just not, then this is for you. There's a beautiful book called The Quiet Roar, Stop Pretending You Are Fine by Louise Budgen, our beautiful guest today. What I love about this, and I've read it all, is it's not about fixing yourself or becoming someone new. It's about coming back to who you already are. Because so many of us have learned to just keep going, to hold it all together, to tune out that inner voice that's been trying to get our attention for such a long time. This book is a really powerful invitation to just pause, reflect, reconnect with that part of you that you know you need to realize there's nothing wrong with you. You're just maybe stopped listening to yourself along the way somehow. And there's another way, a way that feels more honest, more aligned, more like your own path. So if this feels like it resonates with you, you can find The Quiet Roar, Stop Pretending You Are Fine by Louise Budgen on Amazon or via her website, louisebudgen.com. Enter TMC at checkout for a 10% discount on your purchase there, and she will send it directly to your beautiful address. And if you want to explore more, you can go ahead and do so at louisebudgen.com/join. I fully get that for some, when they listen to these types of episodes, they'll think, okay, it's all fine and well, but where do I start with this? Like, what am I meant to do? And we do know that we've got the energetic pull, and it comes in two directions, like you've said. It's the spiral down and the spiral up. And when we start to go into that spiral down energy, and it anchors us almost into the darkness, the heaviness, the lack. Yeah, it's like the anger, the disappointment, the constant scanning for threats. It's almost like our polyvagal chart, our fight,
Yeah.
flight, freeze. We're always scanning and horizon scanning for threats or on edge. So everything feels tense, tight. Of course, they're going to let me down. Of course, I'm not going to win that thing. Of course, I'm not going to be nominated. And actually, if we find ourselves energetically sitting in that, the unfortunate matter is that we attract more of what we are actually putting out. So when we are in the upward spiral of light energy, yeah, of that brightness and the gratitude and the paying for someone else's coffee in the coffee line and you don't even know them, and they look at you like you have two heads, because they're like, I don't know you, why are you doing this? And you're like, I just want to do a good deed today.
Yeah. Lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it resonates, right? It's like actually invitation for everyone listening to this today to go do one small good deed for someone. It doesn't have to cost you money, but potentially if you see someone drop something, go help them without saying, do you want help? Just go help them.
About 2 years ago, I was in a farm shop locally, and it's got freezer cabinets. And there was this old lady on two sticks. Now, she was nowhere in my way. And I went to open one of the cabinets and she said, oh, sorry, dear, I know I'm in the way. And I said, oh, my word, no, you absolutely weren't in the way. I said, I wouldn't have opened the door if I thought you were. And she said, oh, I am in the way. I've always been in the way. My mother told me that from a very young age. And I said, oh, I said, has it ever occurred to you that maybe your mother was not telling you a truth? Because you certainly weren't in the way then. And I would love for you to perhaps try and rewire that around and see that you've never been in the way. And she said, oh, thank you, dear. And I went and I did my shopping. She waited outside for me and she said to me, I can't thank you enough. You have just lifted a big weight off my shoulders. I can now feel that I haven't always been in the way. I mean, she must have been in her 80s.
Oh, that makes my heart hurt. And also, like, you've released a mother wound attachment for her.
We all have that. We all have that gift of helping somebody in the moment. And when I realised that was part of me and part of me being here.
Yeah.
The more I do it, the more opportunities are presented to me. So it's lovely, really is lovely, because a comment can lift, like you say, the coffee, just to say, oh, I love your hat, or oh, I love the colour of your hair. It's just, oh, I've been noticed, I've been seen. And that is so powerful. So powerful. And as women and as men, we should all be doing that. We should all be doing that. We're lifting each other up. We're all connected, aren't we?
Human to human, though, right? It's just like, actually, if we think something and we see someone that, you know, we love the way that their fashion is, or we love how they approach something, it's like, share it with them. Maybe you necessarily wouldn't normally do that to a stranger, but sharing it with them, like you've said, to just make a compliment or to share a thought, if it's a really positive thought, it lifts the vibrational energies. And if we could physically see the vibrational energetic shift, we would do more of it, because of how it connects the heart space to others. It's like that true connection of energies through human to human.
You can see how you can lift somebody up or change something in an instant. I absolutely love it. I was on a train to London not long ago, and I think it was half term, and there was he was about 5, this little boy with his grandma and his mum, and he was chit-chatting all the way and really an interesting conversation he was having with us. And I got off the train, I said to him, you've been a really good boy. I hope your mum and your grandma are going to really treat you. And the two women were, oh my God, thank you so much. We thought he was being too much. And I went, no, I said, this was just so lovely to be able to hear him so animated. So speak and help each other just with a kind comment.
I love that. I love this. So if someone's listening to this right now, and I know that whenever I listen into episodes that I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is me. And they're thinking, this is me, or there's things in here that I want to take away from this. What would you be saying to them right now? I
would be saying, wherever you are there, so be there. And I'm bound to say, pick up the book, order the book, because the book is full of gold in terms of things that will resonate right for you absolutely at this moment. And I designed the book so you start each sort of section of the book with a true soul whisper, which is some wisdom that I've weaved through to whatever is going to be relevant in the text. And then at the end of the text, have a true soul bomb, which is it's a truth bomb, which means, well, if we don't do this, if you don't do X, don't expect Y type of thing. So
yeah,
it takes you on a journey, but it's a very powerful. Somebody that's read it, she said, I've taken every single truth bomb out, and I'm using them as sort of a daily thing. So that's obviously my next book, isn't it?
Little daily cards.
Yeah. So be where you are, but be honest with yourself. Have that honest conversation with you. Maybe pick up a pen or use your voice note and just say, you know what, I want to be honest with myself today. You don't need to share it with anybody. Just be honest with yourself. Be seen by yourself first. Which
can be very daunting at times, can't it?
They're very daunting. But if you don't start there, Adele, you're going to keep pretending. And
you've actually said this in here, right? There's a segment that when I read it, it was like, oh, it made my heart kind of go boom. And it says, women who have spent decades pretending and defining worth by how much they give and do often create unsustainable life patterns. I believe personal challenges don't arrive to punish us, they come to reroute us, and they appear as soul signposts. So it's very similar in that phrase that a lot of the listeners will hear me talk about divine timing or divine interventions, that nothing is a mistake. It's on purpose at the right time for us, as much as sometimes we think, well, why am I facing this? Why do we go through cancer twice? Why do we go through loved ones of ours nearly dying of heart attacks? Why do we face renovations going wrong and situations where it's like everything just feels like it's stacking up on top of me and pushing me further and further down? There will be many individuals out there that have faced situations similar to you. And I come back to that resilience of self and actually the power of your mindset to shift from being in that negative spiral pull down to the core of the darkness to actually allowing yourself to spiral up into the light and into the light of the higher gratitude energies.
Everybody needs to know they are unique, and everybody needs to know they have choices. So whether they do something is to do something or do nothing, it's still going to be a choice.
Yeah, it's choice. Yeah.
It's about owning that choice in the moment, because maybe they do know they need to or want to stop pretending they're fine, but maybe, as you said, it isn't the right time to do this work. They need to trust, I'd say, they need to trust that when the time is right, they will know. Because sometimes so chock-a-block with things that there is no time. So it's about creating the time to ensure that they can do this work, because it is important. So as you know, in the book, I talk about the 5 T's: truth, trust, time, tests, and transitions. And time is a big factor in life, isn't it? We have such a short amount of time in life.
And yet an abundance of, because is it just an illusion? I was having this conversation with one of my twins yesterday, because she's like, I'm under so much pressure, Mum, I've got no time. And I was like, but there are choices we can make that will create that protected time. And actually, is it reality? Or is it that we put ourselves into the duality of, I have to do all of this for others, comply with, for them, it's the schooling programs and telling them where to go when and what to do, versus are we truly ever in that freedom of choice? I feel like in menopause, it becomes such a big time for women that really confronts us in such a smack in the face way of, oh my God, have I really been putting myself last all these years? We almost start to become like the glasses come off a little bit and we can see a little bit clearer. Yeah. Unless we struggle with the changes that those hormones have on our eyes.
Yeah.
But there's that element, isn't there, of change that comes about in menopause as well, that can help us to really be confronted by that.
I want to say to any listener, anybody watching this, that being older is an absolute gift, because you bring with you all your dots and all your wisdom. And there is so much to look forward to. There's so many more chapters for your life for you to step into. So don't think menopause and done. I'm this is the end of my
God,
life.
no. I don't feel that way.
It's about stepping into becoming who you're supposed to be. And so, as you in the book, it's unravel, remember, and become, because I do believe we're all on a journey. And I do think that age and going through the menopause or getting over challenges are all helpful in you becoming who you're supposed to be. Because it's your soul experiencing, your soul coming to be seen, I want to say.
You signed that soul contract. So is it ever too late then? If we have, I'm just thinking about this 80-odd-year-old woman that you had that conversation with, and that one small conversation allowed her to almost free some of that anchored, dark, heavy energy. Is it ever too late to start this work?
I don't think it's ever too late to start this work, because obviously that lady's mum may not be around anymore. If she's in her 80s, she probably isn't, but she could do her own internal forgiveness work around her mother. I did a lot of that, as you know, reading my story. And I don't think it's ever too late, because you can choose in a moment. You can choose in a moment. You can change your energy in a moment. It doesn't have to be a long 6-week program to change your energy. You can do it in a moment. And nature, I was just thinking, how have I changed my energy over the years when I've been stuck in the mud, or I've gone into nature and I'm looking over there, I've got a forest over there. And that has been a huge way of allowing the unseen powers of the wider world universe to support me when I've needed it. And I will not say that I've done this alone. I have tapped into lots of different health tools, but nature has been a constant, a definite, beautiful constant, and it's here for everybody.
It's finding your joy jar or joy bubble moments, isn't it? This is one of the things that I talk quite a lot about with women in general, but it's like, well, what makes you feel joy, happiness? What brings you back to you? And sometimes it's going out to the beach or finding your favorite pair of socks or pajamas that are clean, and instantly you're like, oh, I'm winning today. So it's allowing yourself to have these little moments of what is inside your joy jar, and reminding yourself, maybe when the energy is feeling quite, oh my God, everything's against me today, it's like, what's in my joy jar that I can go and take out? Yeah. Is it, go and phoning that one person that, when you speak to them, they just lift your energy up. We're allowed to have those tools in our toolbox as well. Okay, I would love to ask you some quick fire reflection questions.
Hey, yes.
So the way that these work, I would love for you to just complete the sentence, all right, as we go through this one. So first one, I'm fine often really means ...
I am so not fine.
Okay. Freedom feels like...
everything is possible.
Oh, I love that. Freedom is one of my values. Your intuition sounds like... Now, this is quite a detailed one because it will probably be different for everyone. But from your perspective, your intuition sounds like what?
A choir of angels speaking directly to my heart.
Mine, intuition-wise, when it speaks directly to me, I get so bloody excited that I have this wave of energy and motivation that comes over me. And it happened to me last night, actually. And I'd said to my husband, I went and had a really early shower, washed my hair, did like a cleanse, an energy cleanse in the shower, washing my hair, just allowing myself to just be like, I shaved my legs. It was like, get rid of everything that needs to go, the hairy legs, all the things. And I allowed myself to then step out of that shower cubicle, put on my face mask, let my hair dry naturally. I was like, oh, fresh pajamas. It made me so happy. Came down the stairs and I was like, I'm going to sit on my love chair in my office because I just saged it all and read my book. And he was like, amazing. And then he poked his head in to ask if I wanted a cup of tea. And I'm deep into this intuition meditation music, journaling away. And he's like, what are you doing? I was like, I had a moment. I had an intuition moment and I just had to take action. So for me, it's like a burst of energy, a burst of motivation, a burst of clarity. And I feel it inside my belly space. And then it just hits my brain and I don't stop. Wild. I know, I'm crazy.
No, you're not. No, but you're great because you're allowing it to to come. You allow, and that's what I want to say. So when Choir of Angels come to me, sometimes, not all the time, a big idea will land. I've had one of these recently, and it's just been, oh, I see, this is a dot, but then it's this, and it's just magical, because when you're connected, you know that's where and what it's about. It all makes
it's allowing
sense.
the downloads, right? Even when you've planned to go read your book and you're all ready for it, and then you get a download and it's like, oh, need to take action. Okay, one thing every woman needs to hear today is
you are uniquely, beautifully already whole. You are enough, and go meet your future, walk towards your future self.
I love this. I think if each of us takes a moment right now, whether you're listening to this on your commute, you're walking and doing your steps for health, wherever you are listening to us right now, think back to your past self at a time where you would look at your current self and be so proud of who she is. I do this exercise when I'm on retreat with my ladies and we step into our future self. There's this beautiful visualization and meditation I take them through. And one of them is connecting with a past version of ourselves who would be so proud of where we are in the here and now. And actually, if you were to sit with her for even just 5 to 10 minutes and have a conversation on how much awe and inspiration you would take from yourself as that future version. So then it's thinking about where we are now, allowing that to almost project forward into you are a version of yourself that your future self will be so proud of. Right? So it's like there's never a time in our life where we're never proud of ourselves apart from in the moment we are in now. It's powerful, this work, right? It's super powerful. Louise, if every woman listening to this right now, as we come to the end of our episode today, remembered just one thing from this conversation, what would you hope it would be?
They're a beautiful soul on their own unique journey, and just keep trusting yourself, keep looking at the truth of who you are, see the truth of all this is, and don't worry about the tests, because they're here to help you evolve. They're here to help you grow. They're here to help you move forward, because that's life. Life is exactly that. It's not a linear straight road. It is up and down and in and out, and the more tests you have, rejoice and celebrate, because that means that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and be happy.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing your heart, your wisdom, your mind, your experiences, all of the good stuff with us. And obviously, if today's conversation has resonated with you, then Louise explores all of this and much more inside her book, The Quiet Roar, Hear Your Whisper, Claim Your Roar. It is available now. Louise, where can they find your book and where can they connect with you?
I am very contactable. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. I am also on louisebudgen.com. And you can buy the book from there, and also on Amazon, through Waterstones, through your bookstore, which is all on louisebudgen.com. It's just a simple button to connect through.
We will pop all of that and how they can connect with you to look at purchasing the book all in the show notes. So please do go ahead and click those. And if you are unsure, then please do message us and we will send you those links. And I believe, Louise, you have a discount code for our listeners today. If they want to purchase your book, they can get a 10% discount.
They can, and it would only be right to use TMC, I think, don't you?
Beautiful. TMC, the Menopause Coach. So again, we will pop all that in the show notes. We are super thankful for you today. Thank you. And if you have any questions relating to today's conversation, then you know where to find myself and Louise. So don't hold back. Ask away. This is your time, your energy, your space, so claim it as your own. Louise, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure to have this conversation with you.